Hello, and welcome to the Normal Intuitive. This is episode number 16. My name is Nancy. Thank you so much for joining me. It is a rainy, very spring day up in New England, and as usual, I am podcasting alone from my car, so no professional studio here. This is where moms get away. And for those of you joining me for the first time, I want to thank you so much for listening along. When I am not a psychic medium and I'm not doing readings, I am a stay-at-home mom to 2 living children, 2 rescue dogs, 2 rescue cats, a spouse. Actually, today is our anniversary. And, I'm just really pretty normal despite knowing things about other people and being able to talk to people that have passed on. And the goal of this podcast is always to kind of dispel those myths of spirituality and what a psychic medium is, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm going to jump right in today with the subject being not being good enough. I talked about it on my blog a few days ago, but I think it's really important because I think it's something that we all struggle with from time to time to different degrees. Some of us are going to feel it more with others. The great late psychic Sylvia Browne said that there are certain challenges that you will face in your life. It's called a life theme, is what she believed and what she received from spirit. And for me personally, one of my themes that I know I've struggled with is the theme of rejection, which is constantly being rejected by other people or me rejecting them, and those lessons along with rejection. And rejection and not being good enough goes hand in hand. But I think that if you look back at your life and you those introspective times that you have, you'll be able to kind of sort out your theme. Maybe it's finances. Maybe it's always picking the right partner. Maybe it's relationships. Whatever it is, I think that we definitely have kind of a path, a pattern that has kind of led us along this path. And you can kind of guess where it's going, but who knows? I am not psychic about myself, but I do see patterns with people. And rejection and not feeling good enough is, honestly, I think is one of the worst feelings because it's something that you have real total control over. Like you can say, I'm not going to let you have power over me. I'm not going to let these emotions have power over me. But because you don't have any control over anyone else, it's completely unexpected. So you don't know, if your friend is going to text you tomorrow, your best friend since kindergarten, and say, I'm done with this friendship. You don't know if a family member is going to come and say, I'm done with this relationship. You have no idea. And that's why rejection is so unexpected, and not feeling good enough kind of hits you in the face, whether you have self-confidence or not. And it just, how you react to it is the key. And I know that in my life, I have always struggled with not feeling good enough and not measuring up to expectations that I felt I had on me. Now, of course, these are my viewpoints. This is how I feel. I'm sure it was very different to the person, the people that I'm talking about. But really, when you struggle with feeling inadequate, it will carry along with you until you freaking take that off. Because if you're going to feel inadequate, you have to decide not to feel inadequate, and you have to decide that you are good enough. But more on that later. So I was chatting with my sister a few days ago, and she talked about the need that humans have for familial groups, that we are wired to need approval from our family members, to need that pack mentality. And so when family members reject you, when familial presence help you not feel good about yourself, I'm trying to put it in a way that it's your impression. It really, it hits like a dagger. Or anyone that you consider family, whether it's your best friend or your husband or, your child, any of those in that family unit that you have decided, it hurts more. It always hurts more with family. You've heard that. And it's biology. It's biology that it is going to hurt more. And it is biology that we are going to seek the approval of those around us. And this inadequacy is horrible, and it will affect our entire lives. And I have not shared this before, but I have a particular family member that in the last few months since I've started one-question.net, we really, our entire relationship has changed, and not for the better. And I am no longer on speaking terms with this family member. And it feels like a death. It feels like I'm going through a grieving process for the relationship that I thought I had with this person, for the support, for the love that I don't have anymore. And it pains me because I have readings with people that have lost family members and they want so much to be able to speak to them. And unfortunately, this person is living and we aren't speaking. And that's what hurts the most, is not knowing why we're at an impasse, and knowing that your relationship is never going to be the same. And it's really, I think, in part because I've kind of come out of my shell and kind of struck out on my own as far as deciding that I want to help people through being a psychic medium. And it took a lot of guts for me, just like for so many of you, when you decide whether it's to come out as being gay or lesbian or transgender or bi or whatever it is that you are, or even when you decide to, date someone that you know that other people aren't so thrilled about, or maybe you choose a career, you know that's going to affect your relationships. And it always does. And it's really in our hands with how we handle, and I'm saying this again, how we handle that rejection. But regardless, it's going to hurt. And I think for me, at least, I've had to kind of grieve that relationship and that expectation of a relationship that is no longer there. And I don't think it helps when you have people out there that are telling you that it is wrong. And I, in particular, and I posted about this on my Facebook, I had a woman quote Leviticus the other day about saying that I was the pot calling the kettle black, because I had talked about a conversation I had with someone else about some certain Christian women that did not want to get a reading from me, and they'd completely rejected me. And again, it was about rejection. It was about my viewpoint, not the fact that someone didn't want to get a reading with me. That's fine. It was about feeling that rejection. And instead, this person chose to quote, and, the Old Testament, Leviticus, which also talks about stoning your wife and also that gays are horrible. The same section, she decides to quote this. And instead of either not letting the comment go through or, saying that she was wrong, I actually thanked her and I said, thank you for your viewpoint. And I thought that would be it. And then I actually opened it up on my Facebook page because I wanted to hear from others on what they thought about that Leviticus quote, about that turning to psychics is turning against God. I forget exactly what it said. And I remember at the time thinking about the question of this Leviticus. Let's say, for instance, that this quote is 100% correct, which I don't believe it is. So is it better for me, and this is all me personally, but I think we can all relate in our own lives. So in this particular case, though, is it better for me to have this gift where I can read others, where I can connect with people that have passed on? Is it better for me to hold this in because I know it is against the Old Testament? Or is it better for me to come out as a psychic medium and help others with my gift, which and have Leviticus say, well, you're completely wrong on that. And honestly, if I think about kind of the true beliefs of the core beliefs of Christianity, which is, loving others, helping others, I think that Jesus in particular would want me to help others as long as I wasn't hurting them. And I mentioned in my blog that there are a few promises that I made at the beginning of starting this website and starting my business. And one is that I would never take advantage of someone. I am not doing this for money. I charge people because I am taking time away from my family, away from my children, away from my other life. And another thing that I promised was I would never, ever be fake. I would never say I knew things when I didn't. And one of my biggest pet peeves about this profession of psychic mediums is there are a lot of psychic mediums that do take advantage of people. And I'm not saying all, definitely not. But I am saying there are some. And if I were trying to take advantage of someone, I would be making myself out to be a lot cooler than I was. Like if I was faking this, I would not be admitting that I am getting rejected from family, and I would not be telling you that I dance like Elaine from Seinfeld. Like I would make myself out to be the coolest person ever so that you would want to be friends with me, right? Like if I were really wanting to fake this and pull the wool over everyone's eyes, don't you think I would want to make myself look a lot freaking cooler than I am? Because the truth of the matter is I am a huge dork and I own it. But I think that if I were trying to get customers, which is what this comment was insinuating from this woman, that I was the pot calling the kettle black, I would be trying by being super cool and posting, reviews from, I don't know, celebrities or I don't know, whoever. I don't know what I would be doing, but I would totally be doing it in another very cool way, completely opposite of what I am. And it's interesting because I kind of, I posted her comment, I responded to it, I talked about it on Facebook, and then I let it go. And interestingly enough, as I was getting ready to record this podcast, I got another comment from her. And it was her attacking me again, quoting another, I think she was quoting Deuteronomy. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing Deuteronomy right. I apologize. I was a born again Christian for about a year. And I didn't get to the Old Testament. And I think I don't have two belly buttons. I'm not sure about that choice I made for a year. But anyway, so Deuteronomy, and she was attacking me again. And I'm not going to post her comment, and I doubt she's listening to this podcast, but it's really interesting because if you were truly Christian, why would you be attacking someone else for who they are? It does not make sense to me. And especially when, as Jesus said, when someone slaps you on the cheek, you turn the other cheek, which is what I tried to do the first time. And now the second time with her commenting, I'm just kind of like, no, like I'm not going to do this anymore. Like I don't deserve you attacking me because of who I am. And unfortunately, this is not the first time that I have been told these things. And it's really, really hard. And it's that rejection of being told over and over, you're going to hell and that you're a bad person. And I take it very personally because I try so hard to be a good person. I try so hard to give of myself more and more. But I have my limits, and it's why I charge for readings, because at some point I hit a limit on the readings and I need to be with my children, and my children need me, or my spouse needs me, or the house needs me. And I need to have a balance. But if that's the worst thing I'm doing is charging people, which I think is fair, and I will never charge more than I'm charging now. Unless I have a waiting list of like 6 months, which, I doubt I ever will. But regardless, this is all to say that we all have things about us that we have been criticized for. We have all been rejected. And even that silly comment that I just received, it freaking cuts like a knife. Because I don't know what else I can do. And I talk about this in the blog. I don't know what else I can do to please people. Like I can't please everyone, nor can you. No one can please everyone. Someone is going to find a problem with you or your lifestyle, regardless of what you do. I eat clean 95% of the time. I eat clean because I have a health condition.